Friends, welcome back. Guys, January 26th is coming up again, and like the clockwork, the country splits into two camps, barbecues on one side and protest signs on the other. And a whole lot of Aussies in the middle asking the same question every year. Why is this still such a flashpoint? And so, guys, here is my view straight up. If we are still arguing about the same date nearly 90 years after the first protest, that tells you the issue isn't the noise, it's the unfinished business. So, guys, this isn't something that popped up on social media 5 minutes ago. This goes back to 1938 when Aboriginal man and woman marched through the Sydney on what they called a day of mourning, while the rest of the country was celebrating 150 years of colonization. So, guys, that matters because it shows that this isn't about canceling a public holiday or ruining anyone's long weekend. It's about a story that's never really been resolved. January 26th, for a lot of First Nations people, doesn't mark the unity. It marks loss, lands taken, families broken, and culture pushed to the margins. And whether you agree with the protest or not, you can't honestly say that history just disappears because time has passed. What I find interesting is how often the debate gets framed as a celebration versus protest, as if the two can't coexist. But that framing misses the point. The protest isn't about hating Australia, it's about forcing the country to sit with its own origin story instead of us skipping over the uncomfortable chapters. So, guys, we are a nation that prides itself on having a fair go, yet more than 600 indigenous deaths in custody since the Royal Commission tells us the system still isn't working the way it should. And this is where I'm very clear on this. Dismissing this protest as winning or virtue signaling is lazy thinking. You don't have to agree with every demand to acknowledge that something deeper is going on. And at the same time, I also don't buy the idea that changing the date alone magically fixes everything. Symbolism, symbolism matters, yes, but symbolism without the reform just becomes another box ticked. That's why January 26 keeps coming back every year louder than the last. And because people feel like they are being asked to move on without anything actually changing. What I respect is that even within the indigenous communities, there isn't a one single view. Some protest, some celebrate, some do the both. And that diversity of the opinion itself should tell us this isn't a simple good versus evil debate. So, guys, the Aboriginal Tent Embassy started with a beach umbrella in 1972 and is still there today, which should make every Australian ask why land rights, sovereignty, and self determination are still unresolved half a century later. When people say protests don't achieve anything, history disagrees. The 1967 referendum didn't come from silence, it came from sustained pressure. And here is the uncomfortable truth, guys. A lot of people don't like hearing this. Ignoring grievances doesn't make them go away, it just pushes them underground until they erupt louder. Australia Day protests aren't going anywhere because they are not driven by the trend, they are driven by memory. So if you are someone who loves Australia Day, I don't think that makes you racist or heartless. But I do think loving this country should include being honest about how it began and who paid the price. A mature nation doesn't fall apart because people question its symbols. It grows stronger when it can hold more than one truth at the same time. So, whether you are marching, attending a festival, or just watching from home, maybe the real question this January 26 isn't people should protest, but why, after nearly 90 years, they still feel they have to. Because until that question has a real answer, this debate isn't ending. And pretending otherwise is just a wishful thinking. So, guys, thank you so much for joining in. And also, let me know your thoughts in the comments. What do you think about this protest? Are they worth it? And also, if you are new to this channel, kindly follow us for daily updates like this. And also, Give it a thumbs up if you like this breakdown. Thank you.